Hey everybody, welcome back. We've got a lot of news today that's rolling out of the Thunderdome. We're going to talk about the water and how it's probably poisoning a lot more people than we even thought. We've got French lawmakers that are still using the book 1984 by George Orwell as a manual. It's crazy how they're going to track people down in the name of safety. It's always for people's safety.
To help the kids. They're going to protect the kids, which is a good thing. They're going to say, to look for child pornography.
We got some gold price predictions. We've got the FedNow rolling out this month. There's already like 41 banks. Then they're going to be up to over 10,000 banks by the end of 2023 and beyond. So there's a lot of news to cover. We do have a sponsor today, Gold Mining Inc., GLDG. They've got a great story. They seem to be very undervalued. I'm going to get into why that is, but just know it's one of my favorite companies. I've talked about them several times, mainly because of the team. Amir Anani has been known to push companies like this to the next level, and the way they've got them, the market's got them priced, just seems to be completely undervalued. But they have no debt, and they've got cash in the bank, and we'll get into that in a minute. But thank you for the sponsor. Let's get into the news.
Nope. And Gigi says hello. So I want to talk about the water first, because if you guys see behind us, our camper, we're actually, and we're camping out, and we bring our own water. Whenever we go places, I do not use other people's waters.
No
and
way.
Actually, the water that we have on our well, I actually had sent off. And remember, we had it tested. We didn't just have the on-site test. We actually had it sent to a lab because I wanted to know what was in our water. And when Chris gave me this information, I started reading it and looking at it. And I'm like, oh my goodness, Chris, this is really bad. We're talking about all the bad things that happen to people. So get into it a little bit. This took me by surprise.
I'm very sensitive to water. I was raised on distilled water. A lot of people think, well, there's no minerals in distilled water, but you're not getting your minerals from this water anyway. You get that from your food, but just know I cannot go to a restaurant and drink water. It smells like chemicals to me. I can't even get it close to my face. But now, this PFAS, or polyfluorinated alkali, is starting to show up in big ways. And almost half of the tap water in the U.S. is contaminated with these forever chemicals. They don't ever really go away.
Yep.
When they get in the water, it dries up, it turns to dust, it gets in the air. It's like, it's in like 98% of everything.
Well, I was shocked that they've been putting this in stuff. I mean, they've been putting this in even your dental floss, you guys, since the 1940s. They really didn't know the consequences. Well, we're facing the consequences now, which is like cancer, obesity, thyroid disease, high cholesterol, decreased fertility, liver damage, hormone suppression. And I was talking to my mom and dad the other day about this, because you guys all know I have an autoimmune. Chris is struggling right now trying to figure out if he is allergic to eggs. Go figure.
Allergic to stuff that doesn't make any sense.
No. And I asked them, I said, do you guys remember if people had these kind of issues back then? And when you talk to people that are older, they don't remember any of this stuff. So it's like we've been poisoning ourselves, putting this stuff in the water since the 1940s, and now we're paying the price.
And it's in our food.
It's in our food.
It's in our water.
Yep.
Guys, just be careful. Try to create those relationships with farmers and try to get away to filter water. However you want. I've got a link to a filter that we use, a SimPure. It gets out all of these things, but the important thing is you get something to filter the water you're drinking. You do not want this in your body because it's probably in everything else. So, just try to get it out.
Well, they say it's even in mobile phones, commercial airplanes, the food you buy at the farmers markets. Like I said, it's even in dental floss. So you guys, it's everywhere.
Well, they did. There's 12,000 different types of these PFASs. And the most recent study showed that it was in private wells and public water sources. So I always thought I was safe because we had a private well.
Right.
But, maybe not.
Well, they say all these chemical plants and all these different plants that do stuff, because they use these PFASs. You guys can look them up. Yeah, I'm saying that correctly, PFASs. And they use them in all these different things. They use them for grease resistance. They put them in different mobile homes. They put them, and so it goes into the ground apparently, and then it gets into your water. So I didn't know that, but I'm glad we had ours actually tested, because we did. We sent it off to the lab.
Well, it's important to note that the highest concentrations of PFAS were found in the Great Plains, the Great Lakes, the Eastern Seaboard and Central Southern California. So that was from this latest study. So guys, just filter your water at a minimum.
And have it tested. Just take it out. You can send it to a lab. I think it costs us $85. And on a note, you guys, if I mentioned the camper behind us, in the next video I told Chris, I want to do a video, I'm curious to see if you guys are interested, of tips we've learned in a camper. So
yeah, we know a lot of them because we lived in one for a long time when
Yeah.
I was looking for work, and we have a lot
we
to
know
offer
tips
there.
and trades.
And when you're newly married and you're moved into a camper that first year, that really was like the Thunderdome. You couldn't get away, you know. So this next story is about French lawmakers.
Yep.
And they've agreed to a justice reform bill that includes a provision granting the police the power to get suspects' geolocation through phones and other devices. We all knew this was coming. You know, I've known it ever since I used my phone for directions for the first time. I was like, wow, they're going to know exactly where you're at. I mean, to the inch on the planet where you're at. And they're saying it would only affect a dozen cases per year, and they're wanting to implement this because of the child.
They're coming out and they're saying that this is a way that they're going to be able to protect children, and they're going to be able to see if you're doing child pornography, you're downloading images. It's all in the name of protecting the kids, is from what I can understand that this is rolling out. But heck, you guys, this just takes away more privacy.
Well, the police should be able to spy on suspects remotely, activating the camera on your phone, your microphone, your GPS, of other phones and other devices. So everything. They want to be able to access everything.
I think, though, they've already done this. I think this just the fact that they're coming out and stating that they're doing it, they're just letting you know they've already been doing this for years.
Yeah, no doubt. Now, they're saying they're only going to use it in crimes that are punishable up to at least 5 years in jail. Devices could also be remotely activated to record sound, images of people suspect of terror offenses. So that's the problem. They're saying, who's a terrorist? You know, who knows?
Well, can I?
Yeah.
So how are they going to know? So they're going to have to activate your phone first. They're going to know all about you first, and then tell you, oh, this is a terrorist, this is not. So you can't know this information until you activate that camera. So they're going to activate everyone's camera and then determine if you're a terrorist, if you're a child pornography collector, if you're doing illegal stuff, up to 5 years. So they're not going to know it until they activate your phone. So there you go. Everybody's phone's going to be activated in their cameras. And
the chief of police in France is saying, his name is Dupont Morty. He's, quote, "We're far away from the totalitarianism of 1984, George Orwell's book. People's lives will be saved." You know, so he's the one that brought up that, not me. He's the one that knows what he's doing is exactly what was in the book.
Yep.
So guys,
if you guys ever read that book, it's really creepy about how the TV watched them at all times. And so there was no space that they could go to that cameras and TVs did not watch them. So there you go. He's saying that, and it's all a quote in the name of safety.
and it always starts somewhere else first. They always do it somewhere else first, and then it's going to work so good for them. Oh, we were able to, apprehend this criminal, and the judge is supposed to go through a judge first. Well, then they're going to say, well, it worked so good for this criminal. Why don't we use it on these other terrorists? The ones that don't think like we do. Why don't we turn their phone and see what kind of garbage we can dig up on them? And then other governments will see that and say, oh, this works so great, we're going to do it too. It's nuts. It really is crazy to be talking about this, but this is actual news.
The thing to me, this is what I take away. Whenever they come out and tell you this kind of stuff, to me, it means they've been doing this for years.
Yeah,
So-
no doubt. All right, this next story was sent to me by a community member, AW. Thank you. He sends me a lot of stuff to Ninja Nation. I got away from that email. I was getting too many emails from Ninja. fpnetworkinfo@gmail.com. So I'm getting a lot of good information that I share with the community there, and thank you for everybody that's sending that. But this is about the Federal Reserve that announced 57 early adopter organizations to start deploying the FedNow, the CBDCs. And I'll put a list of all of them, and I'm almost certain that most everybody is dealing with these banks, the people that do deal in banks. But the group of early adopters is now performing final trial runs on services to confirm their readiness to support live transactions. 41 financial institutes, 15 service providers processing on behalf of participants, and the United States Department of Treasury. So this is the relationship from the Federal Reserve to the people. And it's coming this month, the first initial rollout, and it'll be so hunky-dory. Transactions will be fast, foot in the door method. You know, this is, oh wow, I get my pension
Social Security.
early. Social Security, you know, it's gonna be the best thing ever. But, you know, they leave out the part where they're gonna be able to program it. And I know I say that all the time, but just think of what they could do. Put it in the comments what they could do if they could turn your money on and off. We saw this in the Freedom Convoy before we even had this type of, you know, they can already do it with what they've got. Can you imagine in seconds your funds turned off? So, or on, or you know what you're buying, how much of it. You know, you bought too much alcohol, you're eating too much red meat, you know, and then that drives your credit score down and your carbon footprint, all this other stuff. It all works together, and it is being rolled out right now. I will put all of that and all of that, that's the names of the banks, in the description. So,
Well, we've been talking about this, you guys. So, and here's another key takeaway I think you need to look at. If they're coming out and saying it, it's already been done. So it's just up to us to figure out how to, I guess, work around this to the best of our ability, how to protect ourselves to the best of our ability. So that's why we're bringing this to you, going, hey, you guys, take a look. This is what's happening. I mean, the FedNow is rolled out. I've already had to talk with my parents about this because they do Social Security. I'm like, your bank is at one point probably going to say, hey, let's do the FedNow. If all possible, try not to do it until they absolutely make you do it to get your Social Security, because then they can control it. I've also heard that Venmo, all these apps, they're going to make you go through FedNow. We'll see how that plays out. But so just heads up, and we're just...
And one action to take would be get into some money that can't be controlled.
Yep.
And that brings us to our next story.
Gold and silver and crypto and...
You got the prices for...
I do. Yeah,
precious metals
closed
today.
yesterday. What, closed yesterday? You know what? The COMEX is closed today.
Well, this video will be coming out 2 days from now. So.
Okay, well... I don't
as
know
of
what,
the making of this
as
video.
of the making of this video, it's $19.28.60. It's $1,928.60 for gold. Excuse me, $23.22 for silver.
So, Larry Leopard strongly believes that gold will take out 2,100 and then rip to 3,000. I do too. Most everybody does that understands the situation that we're in. And this is not one of those $10,000 or $15,000 ounce per gold ounce evaluations. You know, this is just really small move, in my opinion. But, you know, when this happens, it's really going to make those miners like GLDG, Gold Mining Inc., really rip. It doesn't take much for gold to move, and they really jump.
I was watching an interview of a guy the other day, and I forget who it was. He was talking about how gold miners, they're so undervalued. And he said, with everything that we have going on right now, all the different electronics, technology, all these different things that are happening, we're wanting to go green. We're wanting to go all that. He said, I just can't believe, he said somebody must be suppressing some of the prices. He goes, because we're out. If you look at if you look at the mines that actually we have done in gold is like, we've found zero. We've done zero mining lately. If you look at, I even gave you a chart one time and I forget what it was, but there was hardly any mining.
It's getting harder and harder to mine these precious metals. The easy stuff has already been gotten to. It just so happens that the person that did this interview with Larry Leopard asked him, when is it going to happen? If that's not the $24 million question. Yeah. When is it going to happen? Well, a lot of people ask me that, he said. He said, I don't know, and nobody does. But he says, I think we might have a complete fiat failure by as early as 2030, which is 7 years away. So, and I'm in the same camp. I think we could see that. And the CBDC might be putting afterburners on an already failed currency. So, guys.
Well, we've talked about this, you guys. Look what's coming up in the next few months. We've mentioned all those meetings, 2 have happened, 4 more coming up. We even did a poll on our community page saying which one of you guys concerned with the most. And when I last looked, it was pretty much the one that are concerning the dollar, the BRICS and the Asian things, because their agenda is going around the dollar. And when you do that, where do you turn? Where do you go? That's why Chris and I were in the precious metals industry, we're in the mining industry, and we believe in it.
And you know, it just seems like it should have already happened. You know, that's just the way I see it. Now, I would like to talk about GLDG for just a minute because Amir Anani's part of it. He's been known to push these companies to different levels. I really admire the guy. He's done a lot in the uranium space. He's done a lot in the gold space. Well, GLDG seems to be massively undervalued because of how the market is valuing them. I'm gonna try to put these numbers together, but just know before we go, they have no debt and they have cash. Two things. And they're making money on the royalty company already. So they have 20 million shares of a gold royalty company that's worth 36 million. Keep in mind, this is a $155 million market cap, okay? So that's 36 million of it. Then they have an 80% position in an Alaskan gold company, which is worth 112 million. So if you put 36 million and 112 million and you take that away from 155 million, that comes up to 7 million. So the market is valuing this company at $7 million. Okay, what's the big deal? Well, the big deal is they have 13 gold mining projects that has a resource of gold in the ground at 22 million ounces. 22 million ounces of gold that has been deemed resourced. So the gold's there, they have to mine it. The normal value of resourced gold is $30 to $40 an ounce, you know, before it's dug up. So if you take 30 times 22 million, that's $660 million. That's over 400% upside to this company that's only being valued at 7 million. They're generating income already from their royalties. The CEO is an expert in these projects, and the analysts are giving GLDG a price target of $5. It's trading at like 91, 92 cents as the making of this video. So it's got a potential for some major upsides.
Well, it's just we're not mining for gold. So when we do start mining, and we're going to have to mine for gold because everybody's starting to really get into the market and buy it. I mean, if there's no more gold, they're going to have to. It's kind of a no-brainer.
Central banks have been buying precious metals they're hitting records.
Yep.
Every time I talk about it, they're hitting new records. Gold stocks compared to gold have never been cheaper. It's crazy how much of a difference it is. You would think it would already run up, but it's there. We're assuming broken clock status by buying these small companies at these cheap prices. Commodities are trading at a 123-year low. I just can't believe it hasn't happened yet, but lucky for us, we get to accumulate some more at these cheaper prices. I know Rick Rule talks about uranium. He had some uranium stocks that he bought. I think it was at 10 cents a share, and then went all the way down to a penny. He said, what did I do? I bought more. That's what you do when assets when companies are set up like this with no debt and plenty of cash, when they get cheaper, you just buy a little bit more. So guys, that's it. Check out GLDG Gold Mining Inc. I'll leave the link to the company. You can go through it. I need my stock guys to check it out. Let me know what you think of it. And just have an awesome, awesome day. We're gonna continue camping and go hiking, and we're gonna make a video at a 95-foot waterfall in just a little bit. So that'll be really cool. Later, guys.